Why do we always need to pet everything? You're walking down the street and a dog appears. It doesn't matter what you were doing. It doesn't matter how late you are. It doesn't matter if you were in the middle of the most important phone call of your life. The dog is there, and your hand is already moving toward it. You didn't decide to do that. Your brain just did it automatically, without asking for permission. And here's the thing, it's not just dogs, it's cats, it's rabbits, it's the random fluffy cloud of fur that someone is carrying at the airport. It's baby ducks walking in a line, it's hedgehogs. It's literally any creature that has a round face and big eyes and is smaller than a microwave. And it doesn't even stop there. People pet soft blankets, people stroke plants, people absent-mindedly run their fingers through sand at the beach. There is something in your brain that is absolutely obsessed with touching soft, cute, living things. And nobody talks about how weird that is. Because it is weird when you think about it. You are a highly intelligent modern human being with complex thoughts and emotions, and the ability to do mathematics and write poetry. And yet, the moment something fluffy crosses your path, your higher brain functions basically go offline, and some ancient, primitive part of your brain takes over and says, touch it. Why? The answer goes through evolution, through chemistry, through parenting instincts that are older than language itself, and through one of the strangest psychological phenomena that scientists have ever documented. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand something about your brain that most people never figure out. You don't pet things because you want to. You pet things because you have to. And there's a very good reason why. Let's start with the most basic question. Why does anything feel cute to you at all? Because cuteness is not random. You don't look at a rock and feel the urge to pet it. You don't look at a car engine and feel your heart melting. You don't see a spreadsheet and feel an overwhelming need to squeeze it. But you see a golden retriever puppy and something happens inside you that you cannot fully control. Why puppies and not rocks? The answer comes from a scientist named Konrad Lorenz, who was working in Austria in the 1940s. Lorenz noticed something strange. Humans, across every culture, every language, every part of the world, seem to respond emotionally in the same way to certain specific physical features. Big eyes relative to the size of the face. Round cheeks, a large forehead, a small nose, a short little body. These features, Lorenz observed, consistently triggered the same response in humans: warmth, protectiveness, and an overwhelming desire to care for whatever had them. He called this set of features the kitten. In German, that roughly means infant schema or baby scheme. And his theory was this: those features are the features of a human baby. And your brain, over millions of years of evolution, has been hardwired to respond to those features with a specific reaction. Nurture this thing, protect this thing, do not let anything happen to this thing. Because a human baby with those features needs you. A baby that triggers your protective instincts survives. A baby that doesn't trigger your protective instincts is in trouble. So natural selection, over hundreds of thousands of generations, built a system inside your brain that fires the moment it sees those features. Big eyes, round face, small body, soft. The system says, this thing is precious and vulnerable. Protect it, touch it, care for it. And here's the part that changes everything. The system doesn't check whether it's actually a human baby. Animals, especially baby animals, often share the exact same physical features that trigger your baby detection system. A puppy has a large round head relative to its body, big eyes, soft fur, small paws. A kitten has an enormous forehead, tiny nose, huge eyes, and makes small helpless sounds. A baby duck is literally just a round yellow ball with a face. Every single one of these things scores high on the kitten checklist, and your brain, which evolved to recognize those features as helpless baby that needs care, sees a puppy and immediately fires the same response it would fire if it saw a human infant. Protect this thing. Nurture this thing. Touch this thing. This is why the urge to pet animals feels almost involuntary. It's because it is almost involuntary. The system that generates it was not built for you to consciously control. It was built to be fast and automatic. Because in the ancient past, a baby that triggered your nurturing response quickly had a better chance of surviving. Slow, deliberate thinking wasn't useful here. Speed was. So your brain's baby recognition system is essentially a reflex, and baby animals hijack that reflex completely. Now let's talk about what actually happens in your body when you pet something, because the feeling isn't just emotional, it's chemical. And what's happening in your brain when your hand makes contact with something soft and warm is genuinely extraordinary. The first thing that happens is oxytocin. Oxytocin is a hormone and neurotransmitter that your brain produces. It's sometimes called the bonding hormone or the love hormone, but those labels don't fully capture what it actually does. Oxytocin is the chemical that creates the feeling of deep social connection. It's released when you hug someone you love, when a mother holds her newborn baby for the first time, when you look into the eyes of a close friend. It's the chemical that makes you feel like this thing in front of you matters to me. And research has shown very clearly that when you pet an animal, your brain releases oxytocin, not a small amount, a measurable, significant surge. Studies have found that just a few minutes of petting a dog can raise oxytocin levels in both the human and the dog simultaneously. The bonding is happening in both directions. You feel connected to the animal feels connected to you. And this is not a modern invention. This relationship between humans and animals, especially dogs, has been building for tens of thousands of years. The domestication of dogs is estimated to have begun somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years ago. That's a long time for two species to develop a chemical language with each other. But oxytocin is only part of what's happening. The moment you see something cute, before you even touch it, your brain also releases dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical of reward and anticipation. It's what your brain releases when you eat something delicious, when you achieve something you worked hard for, when something unexpectedly good happens to you. And seeing something cute triggers a dopamine release, which means your brain is literally rewarding you for noticing cuteness. It's saying, yes, this is good, pay attention to this, seek more of this. And when you actually make contact, when your hand finally reaches the dog or the cat or the rabbit, the dopamine and oxytocin hit together. The result is a feeling that most people would describe as pure happiness. Not complicated happiness, not achievement happiness, or proud happiness, or relieved happiness. Just simple, clean, uncomplicated warmth. The kind that makes you involuntarily smile and go, "Aww." And your brain, because it experienced that reward, immediately encodes the lesson. Do this again. Which is part of why the urge to pet things is so persistent. Your brain has been rewarding you for it, probably since you were a child. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because there's a third chemical in this system that most people never hear about. It's called serotonin. Serotonin is the chemical most associated with mood stability and feelings of calm and contentment. Low serotonin is associated with depression and anxiety. Higher serotonin is associated with a sense of well-being and peace. Research has found that the physical act of stroking something soft, the repetitive rhythmic motion of petting, releases serotonin. And this might explain why petting is so weirdly calming. Not just emotionally calming, physically calming. Studies on animal-assisted therapy have found that people's heart rates slow down, blood pressure drops, and cortisol levels. Cortisol is the stress hormone, measurably decrease after just a few minutes of petting an animal. Think about what that means. Petting a dog is literally, measurably reducing your body's stress response. Your heart is beating slower. Your blood pressure is lower. Your stress hormones have dropped. This is not a small effect. These are the same kinds of physical changes that doctors try to achieve with certain medications, and you can get them by petting a golden retriever for 5 minutes. Which is why animal therapy programs exist in hospitals, in schools, in disaster recovery zones, in military veteran rehabilitation centers. Because the science is clear, physical contact with animals has measurable, significant effects on human stress and well-being. And your ancestors knew this long before the science existed. They just knew it felt good. They knew it calmed them down. They knew the presence of animals was comforting. And over hundreds of generations, those who sought that comfort and bonded with animals around them may have been healthier, calmer, and more socially stable, which would have made them more successful survivors. The urge to pet things is not a quirk. It might be one of the most ancient coping mechanisms the human species has ever developed. Now let's talk about something that scientists discovered relatively recently. Something that will either make you feel completely normal or completely insane. Possibly both. Have you ever seen a baby animal so cute that you felt this strange urge, not just to pet it or cuddle it, but to actually squeeze it, like really squeeze it, or pinch its little cheeks, or bite it, or just compress it somehow, and you didn't want to hurt it, you loved it. You thought it was the most precious thing you'd ever seen, but some part of you wanted to physically express that feeling in a way that sounded kind of aggressive. This is real, this is documented, and it has a name. Scientists call it cute aggression, and about 74% of people report actually acting on the impulse in some form. That means roughly 3 out of every 4 people have at some point gently, or not so gently, squished something adorable. You are not alone, you are not weird, you are not secretly dangerous. you are experiencing one of the most fascinating glitches in human emotional processing that neuroscience has ever discovered. Here's what's happening. When you see something extremely cute, something that scores maximum points on the kitten schema, your brain gets hit with an overwhelming flood of positive emotion. The oxytocin is surging. The dopamine is releasing. Your reward system is going absolutely wild. And this is where the problem starts, because that flood of positive emotion is so intense that your brain can actually get overwhelmed by it. Your emotional system gets overloaded. And the brain, when it gets overloaded by positive emotion, does something completely counterintuitive. It brings in a shot of negative emotion to balance itself out. Think about why you cry at happy moments. A wedding, a graduation, a reunion after years apart. Nothing bad is happening. Everything is wonderful. But your eyes are full of tears. That's your brain using a negative expression, crying, to regulate an overwhelmingly positive emotion. Cute aggression works the same way. The thing is so cute that your brain is overwhelmed. The reward system is firing too hard. The emotional system is at capacity. So to bring itself back to equilibrium, to let you actually function, your brain introduces an aggressive impulse. Squeeze it, pinch it, bite it, not because you want to harm it, but because your brain needs an outlet for the overflow of positive feeling. It's a pressure valve. In 2018, researchers at the University of California used EEG scans, brain activity measurements, to actually watch this happen in real time inside human brains. They showed participants images of baby animals ranging from cute to extremely cute. When participants viewed extremely cute baby animals, multiple brain regions lit up simultaneously. The areas responsible for emotion, the reward system, and notably, the areas associated with caregiving. And the more overwhelmed participants reported feeling, the stronger the cute aggression response. The research confirmed something remarkable. Cute aggression is not a sign of hidden aggression or dark impulses. It's actually a sign of deep caregiving. The people who experienced the strongest cute aggression were the ones who were the most emotionally activated by cuteness, which also meant they were the most likely to want to care for the cute thing. The squeeze urge isn't a glitch. It's your caregiving system running so hard that it overloads and needs to vent. But let's go back to the original question, because we've been talking about animals. But the urge to pet things doesn't stop at animals. People pet blankets. People run their fingers through grass. People compulsively stroke smooth stones. People sink their hands into bowls of sand at home decor stores. People stick their hands into large containers of dry beans. And if you've never done that, you should, because apparently it is extremely satisfying. Why do we want to touch so many things, not just animals? The answer goes to something fundamental about how human beings process the world. Touch is the oldest sense. Long before your ancestors had language, long before they had complex thought, long before they had art or music or storytelling, they had touch. Touch was how you determined what was safe and what wasn't, what was edible and what was poisonous, what was alive and what was dead. Touch was how you bonded with your family, how a mother knew her child, how members of a group signaled trust to each other. The human hand is extraordinarily sensitive. You have thousands of nerve endings per square centimeter in your fingertips. The amount of brain space devoted to processing information from your hands is completely disproportionate to how small your hands are. In the famous homunculus image, the diagram that shows how much of your brain is dedicated to different body parts, the hands are massive, enormous, far bigger than the torso or the legs. Your brain is built to receive and process tactile information at extraordinary resolution, which means when your hand touches something interesting, something soft or smooth or warm or pleasantly textured, your brain receives an enormous amount of rich, detailed sensory information, and your brain is built to find that interesting, especially softness. Softness is deeply associated, at the neurological level, with safety. In your evolutionary past, soft things were generally good things. Soft grass meant a place to rest. Soft fur meant warmth and family and the comfort of being close to other living creatures. Hard, sharp, jagged things were more often dangerous. Rocks, thorns, claws, teeth. So your brain has a deeply buried association between softness and safety and comfort. Which is why, when you touch something soft, a blanket, an animal, a fuzzy plant, there's an immediate sense of calm and pleasantness. It's not just sensory satisfaction. It's your ancient brain pattern matching, soft, safe, good. There is one more layer to this story that is worth sitting with. Because everything we've talked about so far explains why petting feels good, but it doesn't fully explain why the urge is so hard to resist. Why can't you just see a cute dog and simply appreciate it from a distance? Why do you have to touch it? The answer is something called the biophilia hypothesis, proposed by biologist Edward O. Wilson in 1984. Wilson's idea was this: humans have an innate genetically encoded tendency to seek connection with other living things, not just animals, all of life, plants, animals, natural environments, Moving water, growing things. We are drawn to life because we evolved surrounded by life, and the ability to read, interpret, understand, and connect with other living organisms was critical to our survival. Our ancestors who paid close attention to animals, who noticed their behavior, who understood their moods, who learned to interact with them, had enormous advantages. They could read animal behavior to understand the environment. Animals fleeing meant danger was near. Animals calm meant safety. Animals circling a certain area meant food or water might be there. The humans who were most attuned to other living creatures, who were most motivated to observe and interact and yes, touch them, survived better, which means the urge to connect with living things may be one of the oldest drives in the human species, not just a preference, a survival mechanism. And Wilson argued that this drive doesn't disappear just because we now live in cities. It doesn't switch off because we have smartphones and indoor heating and supermarkets. It's still there, still firing. And when a dog appears on your path, it fires. The 15,000-year relationship between humans and dogs, the baby recognition system in your brain, the oxytocin release, the dopamine reward, the serotonin calm, the biophilia hypothesis, the ancient association between softness and safety, all of it simultaneously when a fluffy thing appears. No wonder your hand moves before your brain does. So the next time you're walking somewhere and a dog appears and your arm just reaches out automatically, you can now explain exactly what's happening. Your kitten detector has fired. Your dopamine system is releasing reward signals. Your oxytocin system is preparing for a bonding response. Your ancient tactile system is anticipating the sensory richness of soft fur. Your biophilia drive is pulling you toward connection with another living organism. And somewhere in your reward system, the memory of every other time you've touched something soft and felt that warmth is saying, yes, do this, this is good. You are not doing something silly. You are doing something deeply, profoundly human. Something that your species has been doing for longer than civilization has existed. You are reaching out to connect with another living thing. And your brain considers that one of the most rewarding things you can possibly do. So next time someone gives you a look for stopping to pet a stranger's dog on the sidewalk, or for sinking your hand into that sample bowl of beans at the home decor store, tell them it's science. Tell them your kitten fired, your dopamine system activated, and your ancient biophilia drive compelled you toward tactile engagement with a non-human living organism. And then pet the dog anyway, because you were never going to do anything else. If you found this fascinating and want to understand more about why your brain does the things it does, subscribe. Every video is exactly this kind of deep dive. We'll see you in the next one.